Welcome to Complete with DLC, the only show that didn't hit its crowdfunding goal. I'm one of your hosts, Griffin, and sitting across from me is the healthy one, Brad Knight. Brad, how you doing?
You know what? Feeling good. My lungs aren't full of phlegm. I can talk pretty fine. I can't say the same for you, Jacob.
No. I've been sick all week. I don't know what it is. I think I might just have a basic cold. But my sickness has been very odd, so I think I might be dying.
Alright, well, we'll use this time as an announcement, I guess. Complete with DLC, now a solo show.
Yeah.
We'll put in memory of Jacob Griffin after every show.
Let me tell you why I think I'm dying. Because during the day, right, I kind of, I feel like crap, but I feel like I can manage it a little bit. But then, once it becomes, past, 8 o'clock, I start to get the chills really bad. And then I just feel like crap until about, 1 in the morning. And then I can finally go to sleep.
Yeah, that's about normal, right? That's pretty much how someone with the flu
that
goes.
is... Oh, it's the flu? Okay, because I thought I just had the
be.
common cold at first. But now I feel better, obviously. I didn't have that last night. I actually had, a normal night's sleep last night. It was very odd. But...
I mean, generally speaking, people with the flu cold don't get, itchy throats or really, really bad coughs. They'll get a little bit of a tickle, but they won't get much.
I get bad coughs most of the time. But, it's also been really weird because, my body, if you feel it, not right now, obviously, but, most nights, my whole body will feel like it's, 300 degrees, it's so warm, but then I'm I'm freezing. Doesn't make any sense. I think I might have had the flu. I think you're right.
I'm like that normally. I just radiate heat. I'm a walking space heater.
But I think I beat it without any drugs besides aspirin.
There you go.
I did it.
Showing, modern medicine, you don't need a shenanigans.
Up yours, Eastern medicine. No, it's Western medicine.
Western medicine, but...
Yeah, hit up yours, Eastern medicine.
You don't want that Eastern medicine. That's the goat's blood and, 2 cloves of garlic.
Well, might as well have sacrificed a virgin child.
Yes.
Just so that way I could feel better. Speaking of virgin children, do you want to get into what we're playing?
It's an odd segue, but sure.
Brad, what have you been playing this week?
Well, this week I've been playing more Pokemon Leaf Green, since I have I've got the emulator again, and I'm getting back into relearning what little I had learned of the speedrunning route. So I'm slowly working back the progress that I had lost. But besides that, I think I mentioned this on, what was it? I think it was maybe one of the Fallout videos we recorded, a little sneak peek of what's coming up ahead.
Yeah, that was supposed to come out this week, but like I said,
Jacob is busy dying. I've been playing a lot of Skyrim recently, a lot of Skyrim. And it amazes me that as much as I've played that game, there are still things in the world that I've never seen before.
Really?
Caves that I've never found, people I've never talked to, just quest lines that I've never even bothered to do before. And it's amazing. That to me is the standard to all open world games since it came out. And I think that, Fallout 4 didn't quite live up to the expectations now that I'm looking at it.
Wow.
Yeah, when you directly compare the two, I think they both have their strengths, but overall I think Skyrim did a better job.
I like Fallout better, but I think that's mainly just because I like guns better.
Yeah,
it's spells and swords.
Yeah, it's, do you like swords or lasers? It's, the classic science fiction, dilemma. But I think where Fallout really comes ahead is their companions. Because, in Skyrim you don't really have companions, you have one person who follows you around, and is more of an annoyance than anything.
You can adopt a child who follows you around.
I did. I adopted one child. I found her by accident. I felt bad, so I adopted her.
Can you name them, or do they just keep their name?
They keep their name. Her name's, I forget. It's not that
What, I named her Jezebel?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. But yeah, in Fallout, you can actually have relationships. You can talk with, Piper, or, if you are maybe, a weird person, you can talk to Preston Garvey, and, it's much more in-depth that way, and I think that's the only thing that puts Skyrim below Fallout. But yeah, I've been playing a bunch of Skyrim. I'm running a mage this time around, a sneak mage. I've never played that combination before, so it's kind of fun, actually. But other than that, yeah, not much. Jacob, what have you been playing?
So because I've been dying, I haven't been playing a lot of games. But the one game I did get to play this week off of the PlayStation Games with Gold is I got to play the game Zombie, which was previously first launched as a Wii U launch title called Zombie U, but then it's now come to other consoles. And it's kind of an interesting idea for a zombie game. Like, it's a first-person, like, melee focused. It has guns in it, but it seems to be more focused on melee stuff because, it's kind of hard to find ammo in it. But basically what happens is you start off the game and you get called into this underground safe house by this guy on a bunch of he's like on the surveillance system. It's set in London, England, and the streets look like trash, much like London, England. Just kidding to any of our London listeners out there. But
Those of you across the pond.
Exactly. But the interesting thing about this game that sets it apart from other sort of zombie survival games is that it kind of has a permadeath sort of thing going on, where
Ooh.
if you are playing and your character dies, that character you get this thing in the beginning called they call it a bob, which is a dumb way of saying it because it's a bug out bag. These are like real things that people have. They're like backpacks that you can set up for like if a bad thing happens.
Yeah, it's an emergency backpack.
Yeah, zombie apocalypse, a weather emergency, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So you have this bug out bag full of stuff, and if your character dies, that character that you were just in has that bug out bag still, and you just come back as a new character with nothing, and you can find that old character and get that bug out bag back, and then you get all of his stuff back in that way, but you're a totally new survivor.
Oh, that's
so
interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept to do it. I don't understand if there's like a story to it yet. There's like missions that he sends you out on, which is like scan CCTV things. That way you can get more surveillance stuff. It basically just adds stuff to your map, but it's kind of interesting so far. It's somewhat fun. The combat's a little kind of janky a little bit. You have to like hold the left trigger and then use the right trigger to hit someone with your melee weapon. And then when you aim with the gun, you don't aim down the sights. You aim, it's like a crosshair comes up, and you just hold your gun a little bit straighter on the side. It's very odd, but it's a cool game. Sorry, I take a drink. It's a very interesting way to do a zombie game, and there's a harder mode where you just get one life, and then if you lose, the game just ends.
I mean, with a genre as overfilled as the zombie game, it's cool to see that there are still people doing some fun new things with it.
Yeah, but other than that, I didn't play anything else, because I've just been in bed dying.
Yes. You have been just infecting the neighborhood. We've
Exactly.
debated quarantining you off.
I'm starting the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, you're patient zero.
Exactly. But if there's nothing else to talk about, do you want to just get into the news?
Sure.
Okay, so I collected the news this week, but because whenever I talk for a long time I feel like coughing, we're going to have Brad take over the news reading this week.
Yes. I am back to my old duty of reading the things. Alright,
Yeah.
so the first thing on the list here is Atlus Games, the developer that made Persona is what most of you would know them from. It turns out now Sega is going to publish all of their future games. They've acquired Atlus in its entirety now, but it was kind of an ongoing like kind of flip-flop. Like Sega would publish some Atlus games, but Atlus would still be independent. But at this point now, Sega completely owns them. So, according to the announcement, Atlus USA and Sega of America will still act autonomously, the company said, and no games or products will be adversely affected by the publisher unification. So they're going to be owned by Sega, but they're going to let them run the way they were. So think Activision Blizzard, right? They came together, but both companies are still working independently. There's no crossover between the two. So, essentially, that Sega notes that the Atlus expertise has helped in the localization of Japanese series like Yakuza and Project Diva. I haven't heard of Project Diva, though. What is that? Do you know what that is?
Isn't that Wii U game that we talked about? Where you're a pop star? Oh, no, it's a Hatsune Miku game.
Yes. That's an interesting... I just Googled that real quick. That's interesting. She has a very cool color hair.
You know what Hatsune Miku is?
I have no idea.
So it's a pop star who's like a big pop star in Japan, but she's not a real person.
What do you mean she's not a real person?
Like they project her like a hologram, and she's like an anime woman.
Oh, like the
that
Michael
goes
Jackson.
on. No, Michael Jackson's never a hologram. You're thinking of Tupac Shakur.
Is that who I was thinking of?
Yes.
I know they hologrammed somebody. I couldn't remember who it
was. But Hatsune Miku goes on tour and stuff, and people go see her. Like she's a very big deal in Japan.
Huh. It sounds like one of those things that I can't tell if it's just something the Japanese are making up to, screw with us Americans, or if it's actually true. I'm gonna go on it's actually true, because, there's a game about it, apparently.
I know. Isn't that cool, though? I just taught you something new today.
You learn something new every day. Alright, so, we have a quote from, I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher your name, Natao Hikaru, Hirokoe? Hiroyoka, thank you. And he's the CEO of Atlus USA. And he said, after nearly a year of working under the Sega Games division, both Sega of America and Atlus USA have thrived and released a combination total of 23 products. Between Atlus' ability to localize and release Japanese video games products efficiently and the strength of Sega of America's reputation as a leading publisher in the industry, the situation could not be more symbiotic for both companies. So like I said, they'd been doing this for a while before, and now they decided just to kind of make it official. But I'm not quite sure that Sega's really the giant that Atlus likes to say they are. Cause is Sega really that big anymore?
I mean,
do they have any pull in the industry? I don't think so.
Sega's still a big enough company.
Yeah, I think they have enough tucked away from the 90s that they can survive.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if this acquisition makes them any stronger in the industry. But yeah,
they still get enough of that Sonic 06 money.
Yeah. That blockbuster hit. But yeah, if any future Atlus games are not going to be through Sega, so you Persona fans, you'll have to see if there's any adverse effects to that, and let us know if there is, because I don't think neither of us play Persona.
I play Persona 4 on Vita.
Oh, of course, it's a Vita game.
No, it actually was a PS2 game that they ported to the Vita, so nice try. Nice try.
Well, speaking of companies that aren't as big as they used to be, we have Capcom in the news again. And its new Mega Man Monster Hunter games are coming to the smartphones now.
Ugh.
Capcom has made a bigger deal of the mobile market, which seems to be a common thing amongst older developers. I don't know why that is, but guys like Konami, Capcom, all the older guys are focusing on mobile now, which is an odd thing. But Capcom announced that it plans to develop new mobile titles based on popular series like Monster Hunter and Mega Man. In a release to investors, the company said it reorganizes existing mobile branches to form a Capcom Mobile Co., which will launch games It's at this point Jacob had a small coughing fit, and we had to take a moment for him to regain composure. 4 mobile games drawn from existing intellectual properties are currently planned for worldwide release by March 2017. The new titles will be based on the Monster Hunter, Mega Man, and Sengoku Basara brands, among others, according to Capcom. The company's previously released mobile spin-offs of all 3 of these series, so these guys are not new to having their brand tarnished. Spin-offs generally don't do much for a brand's popularity. But yeah, if something Mega Man on mobile is something that you always wanted, you can look forward to that.
It's not something I've always wanted.
But this is becoming the future, Jacob. You have Miitomo with Nintendo now. That's a new mobile game, if you want to call it a game.
That's not a game.
No.
I've got to talk about that, but I don't want to talk about that.
You kind of just want to forget it exists.
I still have it on my phone.
But here's a game that you enjoy quite a bit. It's Guitar Hero Live.
Yeah, I like this game a lot.
The developer of that game is, unfortunately, there's some layoffs ahead of restructuring is what they're calling it. So they're restructuring the company. for reasons unknown, or maybe they're known. I don't know. We'll read the article and find out.
They are known.
Activision Blizzard has reduced the staff of the UK-based Freestyle Games, which developed last year's Guitar Hero Live, a representation from Activision, which bought the independent studio in 2008, to a Polygon that it will restructure the developer following company layoffs. This is a quote from Activision from a statement. Activision and Freestyle Games leadership have been considering a range of future options for the studio and have been consulting with staff to explore all alternatives. The collective team have now reached the end of a consultation exercise, and the decision has been made to restructure Freestyle Games to better align the studio resources with future business needs. We are working with the studio team to explore options to rebalance the staff within Activision Blizzard and its related organizations. That's PR speak for, we don't like the way things are going, so we're going to just jumble everything around and do it all over again.
Basically, I don't think they like the way that Guitar Hero Live sold, which makes a lot of sense to me because it got a lot of bad press before it came out. But then I think if people play it, they realize that it's fun, you know?
Yeah, it's, I'm sure if this game had launched in the heyday of music games, it would have done amazingly. But the era is kind of past, so only very few of these sort of games will make the cut. One of them happened to be the Rock Band.
I think the problem with the way way these games came back is that they all came back at the same time. Like, the thing is with Guitar Hero is that when it came out compared to Rock Band 4, nobody wanted it because it was so different, and Rock Band 4, everyone didn't want that because they were like, it's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like if, like, there were more years removed and maybe they didn't come out around the same time as each other, you could have sold that to a wider audience. So say if, like, instead of, I don't even know how many years it's been since the last Rock Band, I can look it up, but if, say, it was, like, 10 years since the last Rock Band, I think you could have easily sold that to a bunch of people. Like, even if you just waited one more console generation, like, let's say it came out on the PS5 or whatever. The last Guitar Hero came out in 2010. So they came out, like, 5 years later.
Yeah.
I think exactly 5 years later, because it says here it came out October 26, 2010. So
yeah,
I know
5 years on the dot.
Yeah, because it came out October something. But, and then the thing also that didn't help is that a lot of people had to buy new instruments, because most people got Rock Band 1, and they all had wired instruments, but for Rock Band 4, if you wanted to use your instruments again, you had to buy wireless ones.
Yeah.
So, or you had to have wireless ones from the previous generation. So you had to buy new instruments, which if you're selling this for $250, you're not going to get a lot of people to come in and be like, yeah, I want to get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a big investment. That's kind of it's one of the fallbacks of that type of control scheme.
Yeah. And so with Guitar Hero Live, the fact that it looks so different made everyone go, well, I don't want that. Because it's not the Guitar Hero I remember. So I feel like they just got caught in the middle here. If you just waited a while,
it would have done a little better.
Yeah, to me, it would have picked up on that nostalgia.
Yeah, possibly.
Better than just being 5 years removed. I think it's been longer for Guitar Hero. But
I think so. Cause Guitar Hero came before Rock Band, right?
Well, Guitar Hero came before Rock Band, and then I think Guitar Hero stopped before Rock Band stopped, because Rock Band, I think, stopped with 3, but Guitar Hero stopped before that with Warriors of Rock, which was just a crap game.
Yeah,
and so
it's not new that Guitar Hero games struggle. The last few have not been great, but we don't know exactly how many employees were left are being laid off from Freestyle Games. But in the UK, a consultation period, which they mentioned earlier, is required prior to eliminating staff. It allows the employees to seek alternative jobs or positions prior to being replaced or removed. And when a consultation period is done, a minimum of 20 employees have been let go. So you don't do a consultation period unless more than 20 people are going. So there are going to be a few. And like Jacob said in the statement they gave out, they had said that Guitar Hero Live had sold lower than expected, and that a new Guitar Hero game is not planned for the current cycle. Despite that, however, Freestyle Games will remain open despite the reduction in size. So we could still see more Guitar Hero games in the future. Freestyle Games is still in charge of that series, and the Guitar Hero TV which is the online component of Guitar Hero Live, is going to continue to receive regular updates despite this. So if you have the game and you like it and you're hoping, you were afraid that something was going to happen, like they would stop updating, don't worry about it. You're still going to get all your Guitar Hero stuff.
That's
no
cool.
new game for a while until they figure out what they want to do. Alright,
cool.
so up next we have, for once, sort of a good story? I don't know how to categorize this one. About Mass Effect Andromeda. It's not somebody leaving, okay? That's all I have to say.
Yeah, it's finally not a story of, hey, this guy left.
Yeah, hey, we lost another senior member. But, there have been some there's been some footage of Mass Effect Andromeda floating around for a while. Rumors whether or not it was true, this, that, the other thing. But we got another one. And, this one was showing off a jetpack. Now, it's not confirmed that this is part of the game. We've had no real,
According to the article, this apparently is from 2014, this clip.
Yes.
Which makes sense because it looks kind of bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, keep in mind, if this clip is from 2014, the game is not supposed to release until 2017. So, to have a feature completely unchanged in game development for 3 years is more or less unheard of. Almost everything goes through change eventually. So, if you want to look up the clip, you can look it up. Just look up Mass Effect Andromeda jetpack and you'll find it. It's like a 30-second clip. But just be aware that this is probably not going to be the final or whatever you see in Mass Effect Andromeda when it finally does launch.
Yeah. Because it looks, looking at it, like the graphics, they look pretty rough, given the fact that, like, it looks a lot like Mass Effect 3, which I think is kind of a problem because that game was already looking rough because they were making it on Unreal Engine 3 at that point.
Well,
And so it looks like this was continuing in Unreal Engine, and then I think they might have changed it over to Frostbite when EA was like, every game's going to be made in Frostbite from now on. So it probably looks a lot better at this point.
well, yeah. Even if this was in the Frostbite engine, this would be very early on in their development. They wouldn't be too far along at 2014. So,
yeah.
You're not going to have finished graphics in the earliest stages of development, especially when you're testing mechanics. Graphics are usually one of the last things to come along the production line.
Yeah, that and it doesn't seem like it's running at a good frame rate looking at this GIF right now.
No,
because it keeps dropping into the 40s.
Yeah, the low point is about 46, but some people think that's really good.
I mean, it's if it's at least if it's above 30, I'm fine with it. But I'd like a steady frame rate.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be on the final launch. But yeah, there's a clip of the jetpack. If you want to look it up, you can. But in addition to the jetpack, there's a scene showing a Krogan held at gunpoint by a human, escaping by some sort of spore bomb. The rest are examples of visual effects. Another user said the build came from 2014, so this is not only, like I said, not the representation of the final work, and any features may not actually be in the final game. So, yeah, that was a quick one, but if you're curious about a feature that might still be in the game, then you should definitely look it up. It's not very impressive. Think of, I know I've seen this sort of, like, jetpack jump before. What game was it?
Halo.
Maybe. No, maybe. I don't know. It'll come to me. But it's nothing...
Why can't games get jetpacks, right?
Because it's a unnatural form of movement, and it's tough to make that kind of movement feel rewarding.
Like, I think the closest we've ever gotten to, like, the way a jetpack would be is in Just Cause with that new DLC that we played.
Oh, with the Falcon suit?
Yeah. That's like the closest we've ever gotten to, like, like the way an actual jetpack would be in a video game.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I've never liked jetpacks much. I never thought they added a lot.
They're cool, though.
They are cool. So up next we have actually a pretty cool story.
I was gonna say, speaking of cool, this is a cool guy.
Yeah, this one I was pretty happy to read about. So there's a PlayStation Samaritan, and he built a custom controller to help a gamer with cerebral palsy. God, sorry about that. I was taking a sip of coffee. So, a New Jersey gamer wrote to Sony to complain that the PlayStation 4's DualShock touchpad was interfering with his gaming experience. And his email wasn't thrown in the trash or given to a form letter reply. PlayStation employee responded the next day with a promise to build a custom one, and he did. So, take a note, guys. When you send emails to Sony, occasionally somebody does actually read them. That's because the gamer Peter Bryan of South Amboy, New Jersey, has cerebral palsy, a set of neurological disorders that severely restrict and alter one's movement, especially the precise motions gamers make using a twin analog controller. So they did an interview with News 12 in New Jersey, and Bryan showed the manner in which he held the controller to play Tom Clancy's The Division. It resulted in a lot of inadvertent presses on the touchpad, which brings up the map and pauses the game. Despite that, he's probably still better than half the players in that game. Bryan said that he was contacted by a that was me, not the article. Bryan said that he was contacted by a Sony employee named Alex. That's an awesome last name, Nawabi. Alex Nawabi.
Yeah, by the way, it's not Brian, it's Byrne.
Oh, I keep saying Brian. I'm sorry. It's Byrne. Yeah, it is Byrne. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to butcher your name. It's not even like a Japanese name. I'm ashamed of myself now.
I know, right? It's like such a simple name.
Yeah. But, yeah, the
nice
Sony
Irish
employee
last
Alex
name.
Nawabi. I want to be a Nawabi one day. Who did not comment or appear on camera for the News 12 story. But Burns said that Nawabi put about 10 hours of work into a custom controller that arrived earlier this week. It wasn't just a matter of deactivating the touchpad, as it was still kind of important. Nawabi put in a second button that was out of the way where Bryan grasps the controller and rerouted the touchpad's functions to it. Now Bryan can play and enjoy his games fully and without interruptions. Sony has not commented formally, but Byrne has posted a letter Nawabi sent him on his Facebook page. In it, Byrne describes his work, which took 3 different controllers and about 10 hours of work, and, quote, a few moments of frustration to bring to life. It was worth it, Nawabi wrote, because the email you sent definitely struck a chord within. It killed me to hear something you used to enjoy thoroughly was being ruined because of our new controller design. Nawabi asked for feedback on how this controller performed for Byrne, I keep doing it, and said he was making a second controller for him in case the first one breaks. Now that is an awesome story.
Yeah. And it hit me here too, and that's why I added it to the news thing. Because I have a cousin with cerebral palsy, and she plays video games too. And she has complained to me about that touchpad sometimes when she's playing Grand Theft Auto. And so, because it changes, I think, the radio stations on it. And so, the touchpad does kind of suck for that. I wish they would add like a function to it to change that up, to get rid of the touchpad or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this kind of problem is never going to be widespread enough to have Sony ever officially do anything about it. Like, they'll never make a special edition controller.
Yeah, it will never be like a mass market controller, like the version that this guy has.
But it's cool that, somebody is doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
This reminds me of something I had read a while ago, where somebody he was a quadriplegic. I think he was in an accident of some kind. And while in the hospital, he talked to one of the nurses about how he used to play games. And I guess the nurse either played games too or sympathized with him, because she got a piece of equipment that allowed him to. It was a sort of breathalyzer type machine, and he could play games with using only his tongue and breath.
Huh.
And he plays Diablo. I think he streams it on Twitch still, actually, if I'm not mistaken. I forget the man's name. But it was actually incredibly impressive. It was actually a little annoying because he was better at me at some points. Man, he's using only his breath and tongue, and he's playing better than I can.
Right.
But in light of that very heartwarming story, next we have a story that is
equally as heartwarming.
It's interesting. So, if you recall for some, I just had a minor stroke there. I apologize.
In the continuing saga of the Great Detective Pikachu.
Yes, we've talked before on the show about it. Whether or not it's going to get a Western release, and in addition to that, if it does get a Western release, will Danny DeVito voice Pikachu? And because
fans have been wanting this, they started a petition, I think.
Yeah, so it needs like 2,000 more supporters to get the petition sent over to Game Freak and Nintendo of America.
I signed it.
I didn't. So we kind of have an answer now to whether or not he'll voice it, because Danny DeVito has no idea what Pokemon is. At all. So over the weekend, Jonathan Bilski, who runs the Things to Do in LA blog, spoke on behalf of Danny DeVito's Pokemon-loving fans during a live panel with the Always Sunny cast. According to his account of the event, he asked DeVito during an audience Q&A session if the actor will star in the titular role in Detective Pikachu should it come stateside. And the tweet that they sent out was, Audience Q, will Danny DeVito voice Detective Pikachu video game? Danny says no and asks, what the F is Pokemon? So, yeah, it's not a. It doesn't look very very likely.
I mean, I'm sure Danny DeVito would do it to get paid money. Like, I don't think Danny DeVito's one of those guys, though, who's just like, I only want something for money. But, like, I think that if they offered him money to do it, Danny DeVito would do it. And I guarantee you Danny DeVito knows what a Pokemon is if he looks at it. I'm sure he's seen Pikachu before in his life. There's no way that he's lived on planet Earth and has never seen Pikachu at least once in his life.
I'm sure he's seen Pikachu, but, like, there's... I understand what you're saying, you know, what's Pokemon. He wouldn't know what it is as a
concept.
Yes. So while he might... it's the same, like, someone who's never played video games might see Mario and know that's a video game character, but have no idea what it is or what the purpose of it is. So
exactly.
Kind of the same thing.
If I had someone who has seen Master Chief before and knows...
That's the Halo guy.
Exactly, that's the Halo guy. Like, I guarantee you that Danny DeVito knows at least what Pikachu is.
If not, what I can almost promise you is that as soon as he left that Q&A session, the first thing that he did was have somebody show him the trailer, which is now featuring his face over Pikachu.
Yeah.
So,
which is where they put old clips from him from, like, Always Sunny and stuff.
Yeah, so
over the Pikachu footage.
So if nothing else, he's seen his head plastered on a Pikachu.
Exactly.
But it's important to note that still at this point, there's no confirmation that Detective Pikachu is ever getting a Western release. And there are no sales numbers yet on how it did in Japan, but from my understanding, it did mediocre. Like, it didn't do great, but it didn't fail. So it's up in the air whether or not we're going to get one. But back in the music business, in, you know, the musical games, we seem to talk about these a lot. I think the music industry needs to calm down a little bit.
Well, I picked this story because it was kind of an update on something we were talking about last week.
Yes, that's true. So the crowdfunding campaign for Rock Band 4 version failed, as we kind of said it would last time we talked about this.
Rock Band 4 version?
Yeah, the PC. Did I not say PC?
No, you literally just said the Rock Band 4 version.
Oh, oops. The Rock Band 4 PC version. I'm just not having a good day today. I don't know what it is. But they reached about half of their goal. So Rock Band 4 unfortunately will not be coming to Windows PC, at least at this point. Harmonix's crowdfunding campaign on Fig. They did it on Fig, not on any of the other ones. And now, for those of you who don't know, Fig is sort of the newest entrance into this crowdfunding sort of craze. And the difference between Fig is when you donate or when you participate on Fig, you become a sort of partner, and you earn a return on on the success of whatever it did.
Yeah, but I think it's if you donate over $100 or something like that.
Yeah,
you get a return. So like if you donate $1, you don't get like a return on investment on that.
Yeah, so
like
unlike
that.
the other,
and the other thing I like about Fig over the other ones is that the people who run Fig actually pick the campaigns that get to go on there, so you don't get crap on there like, you know, some of the stuff that goes on Kickstarter.
Yeah, they're very selective in who they let on their platform, which is good for, you know, keeping the quality of the fundraisers up. But unfortunately, they did not make it. So the funding drive fell far short of its $1.5 million ask, pulling in about $792,000. So it was from 1,674 backers. That's a lot of money from under 2,000 people.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's just over 1,500 people, and they donated almost $800,000.
I mean, people must have donated high amounts.
Yeah. Well, on Fig, that makes sense, because if they knew that if Rock Band 4 would come to Windows PC, it would sell. It wouldn't do amazing, but it would sell, and they would make a return on their investment. So that's sort of the difference between Fig and all the other Kickstarter platforms, is you stand to gain something and not just, you know, coffee mugs and t-shirts. So because the campaign failed, no money is going to be collected. It's not like Indiegogo in that sense, or was it Kickstarter that does that? I forget.
Well, you can set that up as a setting in your Kickstarter. So like it could be a thing of like, if it doesn't meet our goal, we still get the money, and then we can kind of figure out what to do from there.
Yeah, so Fig doesn't work that way. They don't want to run the risk of somebody just running with the money. So if it doesn't make it, they don't get anything. So Harmonix had planned to contribute the remaining $500,000 of the PC port's $2 million budget. So they needed $2 million, and they were willing to put up a quarter of it. So that figure would convert to the cost of porting Rock Band 4 to PC, which would have been done by UK studio Sumo Digital. The PC version was also set to include a revived Rock Band network. Harmonix would have handled that part.
Oh, nice. I missed the Rock Band Network. The Rock Band Network was nice.
Well, unfortunately, there's not going to be any Rock Band Network.
Do you know what the Rock Band Network was?
I have no idea, but I assume it's something to do with online.
The way the Rock Band Network is that if you tried to go through the Xbox store to try to find songs for Rock Band, like if you were buying DLC, it was just an absolute crapshoot to try to find anything in there.
Yeah.
So what they did was they made an app for the Xbox called the Rock Band Network, which actually let you go through and search up individual songs or set it by genre, stuff like that. It was actually very nice and very it was very good at trying to find songs. So like you could easily find All Star by Smash Mouth instead of searching for All Star by Smash Mouth,
which you did quite a bit,
obviously, because
sure.
I wanted to play a Smash Mouth song.
So Harmonix posted an update on Fig's page on April 6th, saying that the campaign's failure demonstrates that there doesn't seem to be enough of an audience to make Rock Band for PC a viable project for us right now. Although the company raised nearly $800,000, which is no small figure, Harmonix said that as an independent developer, we have to be careful about how much money and development time we risk on a project we're not sure has a big enough audience. The studio did a Q&A in which it answered some of the questions. In particular, Harmonix refuted allegations that $2 million was an insane cost for porting Rock Band 4 to PC, which is an understandable statement, right? You think $2 million that's a lot of money. How could you need something to port an already existing game?
Yeah.
And this is their answer to that question. Since we're using our own engine, it's not a simple matter of flipping a compiler switch and building the game for PC, Harmonix said. There's no benefit to us attempting to artificially reduce what we think it will cost to build this game. We don't want to release a PC game that feels like a half-baked console port. And we have to be very realistic about the time and effort it will take, and then we will no longer be a successful game development studio. Thank you, Harmonix. This is
Harmonix.
Potato.
I'm hearing you say Harmonix, and I'm like, oh god.
Potato. But
Tomato. Let's call the whole thing off.
Yes, it's this sort of attitude is what prevents games like the most recent Batman port happening.
Well, see, I don't think that was really that much of the developer's fault on that part, because I've heard some people from the port studio talking about that, and it just seems like they weren't given enough time for that
exactly.
PC port.
It was a half-baked console port. They were not realistic about the time and effort.
Okay, then I guess you're right on that. But they weren't using a custom engine. That seems to be the problem here, is that Harmonix actually has
their own engine.
So maybe there's some truth to their statement, whereas with Batman they were using Unreal Engine 4, which makes no sense why, like he just said, they couldn't flip a compiler switch.
Yeah. So, Harmonix did acknowledge that it could have done a better job setting up the fake campaign reward tiers, since there was not as much community interest in some of them as we had expected, and while others were snapped up within minutes. So their tiers for rewards were a little skewed. Not a lot of people wanted the higher up ones, from what I gather. And for those of you wondering if Rock Band 4 may still come to PC, that is a possibility. Harmonix said that it might try again in the future to make it happen, or, quote, find another path. The company added that it doesn't have the bandwidth to just bring back a Rock Band network without Steamworks. So the bringing it to PC is kind of vital if Network is ever going to come back.
Well, if you are a PC player, you will soon be able to get your fix of Rock Band on PC with Rock Band VR. Remember that?
Yes.
Remember when they announced Rock Band VR? I'm so curious how the hell that's going to work.
I don't think it is.
No, it looks
odd. Yeah.
From the gameplay video they showed, and I just don't understand how you have music notes come up a highway at you during that.
I don't know, but I'm curious to see how it'll work. But that is the end of the normal news stories, and we're going to move into the wrap-up, which is Jacob's little invention here, where we take a bunch of short news stories, we go through them very quickly, and make a point or two if it tickles our fancy. You ready, Jacob?
Yes.
You're going to have to judge me on how I do. I've never done a wrap-up before.
Yeah, I'm going to judge you very harshly.
Alright, so I know I'm going to screw it up when I get to it. How about you tell me how to pronounce the word you just highlighted?
That's what I was going to find out.
Alright, I'll get to that. I think it's Sapaniza, but that's one we'll go with. All right.
I think it's Sapienza, but I want to be sure.
Yeah, we'll find out in a minute. So the next episode of Hitman launches April 26th. Square Enix announced in a press release the second installment of PlayStation 4, Windows PC, and Xbox One game, which is being released episodically, is set in Sapienza, Italy. Anything?
I'm trying to find...
It's not that important. Jacob, are you going to buy the Hitman series? I'm curious.
I'm going to buy it when it's all done.
So you're taking the Telltale approach to it?
Yeah, my problem is that I was probably going to end up... Because I like Hitman, and I know that I would like this Hitman, because, like, it's, it's a new Hitman.
Yeah.
So, I was probably going to do the whole buy the season pass thing, which was just the $60 version of the game. But I didn't want to do it when all I could play was that Paris one, so I'm just going to wait till the whole thing's out by the end of the year.
Fair enough. Still nothing on Sapienza?
I am trying to get Google Translate to pop up, so that way I can just...
Well, I'm moving on. The Chinese room will launch their hit, story-driven exploration game Everybody's Gone to the Rapture on Windows PC. The studio has yet to confirm a date for the release. For the first couple months of that game, I thought that Rapture was concerning the Bioshock Rapture, and was very confused.
It is actually Sapienza.
Oh, I was right then.
But yeah. Oh, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture is an interesting-looking game. It's just it's a walking simulator kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a not quite point-and-click adventure game, but sort of is.
It's kind of... I was going to say it's like Myst, but it's not even a puzzle game. You just walk around and listen to, like, memories or something.
Yeah. Samurai action game Noah is...
Neo?
Neo? All right.
I think.
I don't know. Samurai action game Noah, Neo, whatever it is. He's in the Matrix. It's coming to PlayStation 4 this year. Publisher Koei Tecmo confirmed.
Koei Tecmo.
What did I say?
You said Koei Tecmo.
No, okay. I don't know why I screwed that one up. I actually know that one. Confirmed, and we'll get a playable alpha demo later this month. Noah's alpha demo will be available on PS4 from April 26th to May 5th. Hopefully that's when we'll learn how to pronounce it. Developer Team Ninja of Ninja Gaiden and the Dead or Alive fame says the demo is being released to solicit feedback on the action game. An online survey will be available during the demo period. That's pretty cool. I like Team Ninja. Ninja Gaiden is one of my favorite series ever.
Yeah, should be a good time.
Unfortunately, the third Ninja Gaiden was not a very good game, but the first two were pretty good.
They did that remake one that was a little bit better.
Yeah.
It was like Sigma or something like that. Sigma 3 or something like that.
Yeah, they do a lot of remakes of old games. Like Ninja Gaiden Black was a remake of the first one.
Mm.
The next entry in the Kingdom Hearts series, and the first for Android and iOS mobile devices, coming to North America today as of recording this, April 7th. Kingdom Hearts Unchained X, a free-to-play RPG, is set prior to the franchise's Keyblade Wars and starts a player-created Keyblade wielder. It's based on the browser game Kingdom Hearts X and features a cast of new characters as well as appearances from well-known Disney characters. Jacob, are you a Kingdom Hearts fan?
I think I am, but mainly just because I like Disney. I don't think it's a thing of, like, I like those games.
Yeah, I don't really like Kingdom Hearts. Sort of the problem I have with the newest Final Fantasy is it plays very Kingdom Heartsy.
Oh, I should talk about that too. I played that demo this weekend. It's very odd.
You've had to talk about a lot of things.
I did. I'm sorry. My head's a little jostled.
It's fine. You know it's not jostled. The next expansion for Fallout 4, Wasteland Workshop. It launches on PlayStation 4, Windows PC, and Xbox One April 12th. Wasteland Workshop will cost $4.99. It's also part of the larger season pass, which is now available for $49.99. The second of the 3 planned content additions to Fallout 4, the pack will allow players to design and craft new items for settlements. These include cages to catch creatures like Deathclaws, which can then be tamed for use in battle. That's interesting. How in God's name are you going to catch a Deathclaw?
In a cage. They literally said it.
I'm imagining
you set up a cage, you put in like a little bell, set up some food, and he comes in and he's like, "This is tasty."
Fine, but I'm using Preston Garvey as bait.
No, you'll do it like on Family Guy when he tries to capture James Woods, and he'll be like, "Ooh, a piece of candy." Ooh, a piece of candy.
It's exactly what it's going to be like.
Exactly.
So the open beta for Doom will run on April 15th. The 17th will offer the same content as the closed beta, 2 modes, Deathmatch and Warpath, on 2 maps, Heatwave and Infernal. Bethesda also announced 3 DLC packs will cost $15 each, and interested parties can get all 3 in Doom's Season Pass for $40. The same old story, DLC, Season Pass.
So what I've heard is that there's going to be the 3 packs of DLC, but then there's also going to be all the player-created maps from the Snap Map thing.
Yeah.
So these DLC seems not really worth it. Also, I've heard mixed things coming out of that closed beta, so I'm curious to see.
I've heard the beta was actually the multiplayer was a lot better than people were expecting. Like when you hear multiplayer Doom, you kind of like ugh. But I've heard it was better than most expected, but not up to some people's expectations.
See, I've heard that, and then I've also heard like some bad things about it. So
we'll have to see.
We'll see.
In just over a week.
Yes.
So a physical release for Rocket League is heading to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on July 5th. Psyonix and 505 Games announced. The Collector's Edition set includes the original Rocket League game as well as items and cars included in its expansion packs. These include Supersonic Fury, Revenge of the Battle Cars, and Chaos Run, the most recent DLC release. Jacob, you're a big Rocket League fan. How do you feel about this?
I'm fine with it. I already have the game on 2 platforms. I don't feel the need to buy a physical version of it.
You don't want the Collector's Edition?
I mean, all their DLC besides their cars don't cost any money, so I already have all the stuff anyway.
So Gears of War 4, the game that nobody was really sure we wanted, is coming to Xbox One on October 11th. Microsoft and developer The Coalition have announced. Sorry, I completely scrolled by accident. Gears fans can get a taste of the new game later this month in a form of a multiplayer beta. Gears of War 4 beta will be available in early access on April 18th to those who have played the Windows PC or Xbox One version of Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Xbox Gold Live subscribers can get access to the beta starting April 25th. The multiplayer beta will run until the 1st of May. So, Jacob, are you a Gears of War fan? You like the franchise?
I'm a decent Gears of War fan. I don't have any real love for the series, but I'll get down with some chainsaw guns once in a while.
I think it's the only the duck and cover type shooter that I've ever really loved. That's sort of like that style of shooter never really grabbed me, but for something about Gears of War grabbed me about it. Maybe it was the fact that John DiMaggio voices Marcus Phoenix, but
that's what it was. You always pictured Bender the robot.
Yes.
Jake the dog from Adventure Time.
Yes. That's exactly what I was picturing. But yeah, this seems to be a common thing now. Whenever, they want to do a beta, it's always a multiplayer beta.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's what you need a beta for anyway. If it wasn't a multiplayer thing, it wouldn't be a beta, it would be a demo.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like that Neo or whatever that we were talking about earlier, that's a demo because I don't think it has any multiplayer in it.
I believe so.
Because they said it was an alpha demo, so it seems like it's just like a demo of the alpha version of that game.
So the difference between a beta and a demo is whether or not it has multiplayer then. Would you?
Yeah. Which is weird though too, because the Hitman thing that came out that was pretty much a demo was also called a beta. But I think that also had leaderboard stuff in it, so that might be why they were testing out their leaderboards.
We kind of need to, uniform this system a little bit.
Yeah. It was essentially a demo, though.
Yeah. Alright, well, that's the end of the wrap-up.
Yeah, no, you did alright.
Alright. That's all I aim for. I aim for mediocrity.
I mean, you stumbled on your words a little bit.
It's something in the water today.
You didn't know how to say Neo.
I know. Neo, Nio, potato, potato. I need more coffee is what I need.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Yes.
But speaking of calling the whole thing off, before we can call the whole thing off, we still have one more thing we have to do, Brad.
We need to get through
Let's
this.
play a little game of Well, That Sucked.
Oh, joy.
Welcome to Well, That Sucked. Here's the most Jacob's going to talk the whole show. The way the game works is simple. I give Brad 3 randomly selected games, and he has to tell me which of the 3 is the lowest rated according to Metacritic. I can give Brad no help but a brief description of the game if he asks for it. Brad, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, you took a while to answer there. I don't think you're really ready. Are you ready?
I'm gonna ask for a description on every single game just to make you cough.
I hate you. Round 1.
Round 1.
You don't need a description of any of these games.
Okay.
For round 1. In honor of the release of the 3rd title in this list, Dark Souls,
Oh, God.
Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3.
Is Dark Souls 3 already on Metacritic?
Yeah. Well, it's been out in Japan for like a month now.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Fair enough. This is where my knowledge of difficult games kind of fails me. I don't know how people rank the Dark Souls games. My brother would know. Can I phone a friend? Is that possible?
No, you can't phone a friend. There's no lifelines.
Damn it. All right. So if I remember correctly, I want to say that people thought 2 was better than 1, and 3 is supposed to be harder than 2, and harder means good for this kind of game, right? So I'm gonna go with 3 is probably the highest, which means 1 would be the lowest. So I'm gonna go with 1.
Brad, you're right.
My logic works.
Can you tell me what 1 is rated?
Probably like an 89.
Oh my God, Brad, you got the half point.
Did I
too.
really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. It's the second time that's happened.
1.5 points for Brad so far.
Only half a point to go.
Round 2.
Round 2.
See if you can figure out the theme here. Rambo the video game.
Oh God.
Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. Predator Concrete Jungle.
So all licensed titles about movies.
Licensed titles based on 80s movies franchises.
I was really hoping as soon as you said Rambo that it was going to be a list of 3 different Sylvester Stallone games.
See, the thing is there's not a lot of games based on Sylvester Stallone movies.
I'm surprised there's not a boxing game about it. You made
there's probably
5 movies.
There's probably a Rocky game. There's probably a Rocky game. I didn't look that far into it. I wanted to get 3 Arnold Schwarzenegger ones, but first of all, he's not even in the Predator game. Second off, I couldn't think of a third Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that would have a video game. So,
I mean, fair enough. I don't think any of these.
I guess Conan the Barbarian. I'm an idiot.
Yes.
I should have went back into. I need to go back in time, like the Flash, and tell myself
redo. Someone get that
Conan.
remote from that Adam Sandler movie. So, I don't know.
He can't change the past in that movie.
Yeah, I've never seen the movie. I wouldn't know.
He can only go back in time and watch his past.
That sounds like it only has preferred uses. For what use could you want to watch your past?
I don't know. See the mistakes you made. And then if he fast forwards, he just kind of quantum leaps into his body.
That's...
He's also apparently silent and just on autopilot while he's fast forwarding too.
Adam Sandler, what are you doing, man? I don't know. All these games sound terrible. I mean, Rambo's probably not bad. You just probably shoot a bunch of people, right?
Rambo the video game is a light gun shooter made in like 2014 or 2015.
Okay, so it's a lot newer than I thought.
Yeah, Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines is a first-person shooter based on the third film in the Terminator franchise, which actually isn't from the 80s.
Wait,
so I don't know why I
said that movie? I'm gonna go with that one. I'm winging it here. I'm going with that one.
You're wrong.
Well, can't win.
It was Rambo the video game.
Oh, yeah, well.
Can you tell me what Rambo was rated?
Rambo was probably rated like at 56.
23.
Jesus, that's our lowest so far, I think.
No, well, this game, yeah, but we've had lower.
Have we had lower than a 23?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like in the first week, I think. I think the third round, like in the first, I just went to fried chicken recipe in my notes, not week 1. Yeah, the first week we had one that was an 8.
Wow.
The first week, so.
Somebody needs to keep track of this for us.
Round 3.
Round 3. I just sounded like a euphemism bot for a second. I don't know why I did that.
What's a euphemism bot?
That's what I said.
What is that from?
Futurama?
Which one's euphemism
The one
bot?
who's the gold Roman dude who's laying eating the
No,
grapes?
that's hedonism bot.
Oh, yeah, hedonism. Not euphemism bot. What the hell am I talking
He like eats grapes
Yeah.
for some reason, even though he's a robot.
Yeah, because that's the Roman stereotype, I suppose.
I know.
Why the hell did I say euphemism bot?
I don't know.
I'm losing my damn mind today. Jacob...
Monopoly, Xbox 360 version.
Oh, okay.
Battleship, which is based on the movie, because when I was looking, apparently they just never made one based on the board game. And Trivial Pursuit, Xbox 360 version.
See, what you didn't know is the movie Battleship is loosely based on the game Battleship.
No, I'm pretty sure people knew that. You know what my main problem in that movie is that at no point in that movie doesn't anybody turn to each other, like the bad guys or anything, and the heroes turn to him and say, "You sunk my battleship." Like, that line is never said in the film, and I have a problem with that.
I think I thank them for doing that. I think the world would have been a worse place had they stooped that low.
I guess it's a little bit better than in the first Transformers movie when they crowbar in more than meets the eye when Shia LaBeouf's talking about Megan Fox. But anyway.
Oh, God. All right, so I'm tempted to go with Battleship, just based on that small tangent there. So it was Monopoly, Battleship, and what was the last one?
Trivial Pursuit.
Trivial Pursuit. Well, the Trivial Pursuit games are always fine. They're just Trivial Pursuit games. And
yeah, so Trivial Pursuit and Monopoly are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so
the thing that you don't know about the Battleship game is that it's one part Battleship, one part first-person shooter.
Well, now I'm confused. This game could be either amazing or it could be awful, but based on the fact I've never heard of it before and it's based on a movie called Battleship, I'm going to go with that one. It's probably awful.
You're right to pick that one.
Shocker.
Can you tell me what it's rated?
Oh, God. Is it worse than Rambo is the question. Probably not. I'm going to go 65.
Brad, why do you give so much credit to these games? It's 38.
Jesus. Oh, God.
It's a bad first-person shooter with decent Battleship moments.
I'm ashamed.
The game has multiplayer, and it could have been saved if the multiplayer was just playing Battleship, but it's not. It's like first-person shooter multiplayer.
Well, at least I won.
No, you didn't.
I did. I got the point and a half, and I got the last point. Damn it, Jacob,
Right.
Don't take this away from me.
This is like last week when I said you didn't get any right.
I can't speak, and Jacob can't think. This is how only the most professional podcasters here are complete with DLC.
This is like when we're dying. Well, when I'm dying, and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do now without me.
Yeah, you're dying, and I have dementia. The blind lean the blind.
Speaking of the blind leading the blind, read me the spiel.
That was a horrible segue. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that through email at completewithdoc@gmail.com. But I would suggest waiting a week so you don't catch whatever Jacob has. As far as I know, it's contagious through the internet.
I've been coughing into my jacket since you told me the mute button didn't work.
Yeah. God, I have to edit that now. Anyway, if you don't want to email us and you prefer using the social medias like all the kids are doing these days, you can follow us on Twitter. We are Complete with DLC on Twitter as well, and that's where Jacob throws up all the tweets about when new episodes come out, when either one of us is doing something interesting, or whenever a new episode is uploaded to YouTube, which is slowly being done. I say slowly because every time I try to do that, my internet seems to disagree and stop working. It's kind of annoying, actually. But,
I'm sure everyone on Twitter is thankful that your internet stopped working, because they hate getting barraged with, this new episode's up.
Yeah,
this new episode's up.
I feel bad, because I turned that off. I unchecked it, I did all that, and then it doesn't seem to care. It's every time an episode comes up, you guys get bombarded with tweets, and I apologize for that. Blame either Twitter or YouTube, one of the two. Blame both. I don't
Blame Google, their parent company.
Yes, Alphabet.
What?
It's the umbrella corporation that owns Google.
That's right.
Now I lost my train of thought. All right. So if you don't want to follow us on Twitter and you don't want to talk to us at all, you just want to get our content, you can do that on either SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, or YouTube. We are Complete with DLC on all of those platforms. RSS feed is hosted on SoundCloud, so if you want to get it direct from the source, that is where you're going to want to go. If you listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher, sorry for that awkward pause there, I thought I heard somebody knocking. You can,
You're all jostled now.
That threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting company. Sorry about that. If you're listening to us on iTunes and Stitcher, this spiel has just gone to hell. Please leave us a review. Give us a rating. It helps us out a lot. We take all the feedback you guys give us. We just try to constantly improve the show, and we'd like to think we're moving in the right direction. Although, as previously shown, neither of us can think right now. So, Jacob, if they don't want to get in touch with the show, and they want to get in touch with you specifically, where can they go to do that?
You can find me on any sort of social media, although probably short-lived because I'm going to die soon.
Yeah, so get to it while you can.
It's J Griff. ITSJYGRFF. Stay tuned this weekend for me to give my tweet review of the film Hardcore Henry.
I've heard
which
that
I think
was
I'm going to
pretty
go
good.
see tomorrow night. It looks pretty insane, so I want to see it. I hope I don't throw up in the movie theater.
That's what I was hearing, is that it's pretty... If you're prone to motion sickness, it might want to be something you take a bag to.
I mean, I'm not really prone to motion sickness. I'm just afraid that in my weakened state, I may be.
It'll strike
prone.
you while you're down.
Exactly. Brad, where can they get in touch with you?
If you want to get in touch with me, you can do that on Twitter. I am Calgany on Twitter, Kalgne, but I make no promises to get back to you on that. I say I'm getting better at it, and I think I am, but I don't really use it for anything.
You're not getting better
You know,
at it?
Jacob, I would appreciate some sort of support here. You could at least lie for me.
Hey, dude. You're really good at the Twitters, man.
See, there you go. That's what I sound
You
like whenever I
dickhead.
talk about Twitter to somebody. If you don't want to use Twitter or you actually want to have a conversation with me, you can do that on Battle.net, which is Blizzard's interactive hub for all their games with an instant messenger attached. And my code on Battle.net is Brad, hashtag 1261, Brad1261. I still don't know whether or not you need that hashtag. One day I will find out. That day is not anytime soon. But those are the two best ways to get in touch with me. If not, then just use the show email and direct the question towards either Jacob or myself, and I will make sure that the right person reads it. But I believe that's it.
That's the show?
Yes. Oh, this week, I know last week I recommended Taylor Davis. This week I recommend Anime's Piano Sheets on YouTube. He has a lot of piano
Are you listening
covers.
to more music
I am.
during the show?
I'm going to make that a weekly thing. Every week I'm going to recommend a new.
Well, you know what? I recommend that Guns N' Roses. Just blast some Sweet Child of Mine while you listen to the podcast.
Yes. And listen, I don't listen to things with words in it while I record. I can already not speak as it is. You think that would help?
Fine. You don't want anything with words in it? Then listen to Skrillex. Just blast that dubstep at the top of, turn it up to 11 and just feel your speakers just destroy themselves from all the bass.
I do not like dubstep. The first time I heard it, I thought my speakers were broken.
Really?
Yeah.
Why don't you like dubstep? That's such a weird thing to not like.
I don't know. It does not appeal to me. Although it does fit in the category of not having any words, so I suppose if I do ever need something, I can always fall back on that.
We'll talk about this more when the show is over.
Oh yeah, we are still recording, huh?
Yeah, this has been Complete with DLC. I'm Jacob Griffin.
I'm Brad Knight.
And thank you for listening.